Hey everybody, hello, it's Dan. I'm the Assistant Promotional Director for BookSoup, or whatever that means. And I'm live at BookSoup today. We're open, and we're going to try to stay out of people's way, but we are kind of trying to find a place where we could do this. And we thought we were up in the office, and the office is messy. We didn't want people to see the office, and we needed good lighting. And then we thought people probably haven't been making it to the stores as frequently, or they haven't been here in a long time, and they just kind of want to see the store. So we wanted you to see the store, and so here we are. That's President Obama behind me, saving Christmas, actually. So thank you. Thanks, Obama. And anyway, no one wanted to be first, so I'm going to go first, and I'm going to kick things off talking about four, actually, of my favorite books of the year. And just so you all know, on the Crowdcast here, there is a green button in the center, dead center, bottom of the screen. It says visit BookSoup's Best of 2020 list here, and that is where we put some of the books that we're going to be talking about today. There's actually a few more books on that list than presenters today, so you can see kind of what we've been reading, and we'll talk a little bit about how we've been getting through this year too. So I'm going to start with my picks. My absolute favorite book of the year is called Memorial. It's by Brian Washington, and it is the story of two guys who are trying to decide if maybe they should stay. They're a gay couple. They're trying to decide if they should stay together or not. One of them takes off to Japan to look after his ailing father, and the other is left to babysit his would-be mother-in-law, who he has never met. And it is quite funny. It's a very charming book. It's told from two points of view. It starts with Ben, and then it switches to Mike. And it's a beautiful book. I kind of tell people, if you've ever been in love with someone you don't quite work with, it's that kind of, and who hasn't? It's that kind of book, and it's a will they won't they stay together, and it's just funny and beautiful. And I read it through tears as I got further into the book. It's an amazing book. It's the kind of book that I will still be selling 10 years from now. So Brian Washington, that's on the list. Take a look at it. I'm also here to tell you about Rumen Alam's Leave the World Behind. This book rattled me, man. Oh, it's a page turner. It starts out as one sort of thing and becomes something quite different. And it's a book that's very much of the moment that we're living in now. And I couldn't put it down. And you will breeze through it. If you're looking for a book that could sort of, well, it's going to scare the bejesus out of you, but it's also the kind of thing that is very absorbing, and it's a great character study. And also, somebody bought the film rights before the thing even came out, and it's going to make an excellent film at some point, I hope. I'm also going to talk about How Much of These Hills is Gold by Pam Tseng. This book, well, first of all, it's a gorgeous cover. But the story inside is an immigrant story. It's a Western, and it elevates both genres. It is really just a fantastic debut. Two sisters. I read this book right before I read The Vanishing Half, and I like it more. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. I mean, both books are great, but this book, something about it, just the two sisters, the relationship to the parents, the struggle to sort of to find your place in the world. It's a really exceptional book, and this is her first book. So if you read it now, then you're sort of in on Pam Tseng before all the other people, and people are going to find this author. This book came out in April, so it was like right when the lockdown was happening, and it really didn't get a chance. It's finding an audience quietly, and I'm really optimistic that people are going to find this book. And then I'm just going to throw in one last book. It's not on the list here that you're going to find, but it's called A Star is Born. It's by Byron Lane, and it is sort of he was Carrie Fisher's former assistant. It's a little, there's a character in here that is loosely based on Carrie Fisher, and it's quite funny. This was the book that was a great escape for me this year, that kind of got me out of the strange world that we're living in. And it was just a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughs. It's laugh out loud funny, and it's a very sweet book. And it's really more sweet than this year deserves, but it's a fun book. And those are my picks for Best of the Year. And Natalie is here. She's the GM. She's the one who's been keeping the store open for all these months. And she's going to share some of her picks for Best Books of the Year. and she's coming up right now.
Thanks, Dan, for that warm intro. Hello, everyone. What a year it has been to be managing a bookstore. I am very grateful for all the new books that have been coming out, all the authors who have had to do their press tours virtually. Grateful for all the support we've been given during this time, especially. Every sale, every customer that walks in, like, truly makes a difference. So for anyone who has shopped with us, many, many thanks to you. We really appreciate it. Now, a couple of my picks from the year. I'm going to start with Big Friendship, How We Keep Each Other Close by Aminatu So and Anne Friedman. I am a big fan of their podcast, Call Your Girlfriend. And so I was really anxious for this book to come out, written by the two of them jointly. Came out, who knows what month it was, probably June or July. And it was pretty instrumental, came to me at a good time when I was living alone, isolated at my house, really missing my friends. And this book talks about the structures of friendship, how important they are in our lives, and often how they don't get the recognition that, say, romantic partnerships do. And this book really made me think about my really close friends, my big friends, as they call them, how important they are to me, and how it's important but really gratifying work to maintain those friendships and keep those people close to us. The next novel I want to recommend is The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. This is a novel that really took me out of my little COVID universe, which came at a much needed time this summer. And it's there's a Ponzi scheme in it. It's kind of a ghost story. It's very haunting. There's a cryptic message written on a glass window in a hotel in the middle of nowhere. And the way this author is able to weave in all these different stories and people with characters in completely different situations is just masterfully done. It really made me reflect on consequences of our actions and responsibilities that we all have, which also did make me reflect on this current moment we're all living in as we navigate and we make choices that affect not only ourselves, but everyone around us. My next pick, this did not come out this year, but it was my intro into romance. This is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I found myself needing, as COVID lasted longer and longer and longer, that I just needed to be guaranteed a happy ending sometimes, be that through books, shows, rewatching shows I know make me feel good. I was not a romance reader, but the romance genre will guarantee you a happily ever after or a happily for now. And this was the perfect entry into the romance genre. Her characters are inclusive, incredibly dynamic, trauma-informed relationships, and it's sweet and tender and steamy and everything I was craving in this moment. Highly, highly recommend. This is the first of of 3 books about the Brown sisters, so check out the other 2 as well. Finally, this is Stray by Stephanie Dandler. This is her memoir. I have been a fan of Stephanie's nonfiction for a long time now. And so I was really anticipating her memoir, which was published this summer. And the way she writes about California, the landscape of California, the weather of California, is truly masterful. I was able, reading it on my couch, to like escape to all of these places that she talks about that have meant a lot to her in her life in California. And her writing about California is so singular to me in the way that like Joan Didion says, for example. And aside from that, it's a great memoir. And I found myself just really needing to escape my life. And memoirs kind of became like a crutch for me to get through this pandemic. So those are just a couple of my recommendations. Thank y'all for watching. Check out the books. We're always happy to give recommendations to customers in the store if you're able to come in, as long as we're able to stay open, and we can also do so over the phone. One of the things that we missed most when we weren't allowed to have any customers in the store was we kind of became like data entry people, just filling online orders and stuff. And it's been so rewarding to be able to hand sell and sell books again, which is what we all love doing. So give us a call, come visit us. We are more than happy to help you out, especially for the holidays. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Natalie. She keeps the trains running around here. And don't forget that little button right there. That's the one. That's where you find all the books that we're talking about. And next up is Sarah.
Hi. I'm sorry, I didn't grab the books.
That's okay.
Oh, okay.
They can find them right there.
Okay, great. Okay, hi. So the 3 books that I picked today were The Lightness by Emily Temple, which is a very new novel. It's admittedly a little dark, but it's like a really beautiful story of super mesmerizing young adult female friendship. And it's got this whole mystery at its core. It's very like magical. I loved it. I think Emily Temple is like on par with Jeffrey Eugenides for me. It's very similar to that style of writing. And then something that was really fun that I read during quarantine that really gave me a little like levity and some laughs was a book called Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero. It came out a couple of years, so it's in paperback right now. But it's basically a really absurdist, sort of like fourth wall breaking answer to the question of what if the mystery gang of Scooby-Doo fame grew up to be this really messed up group of outsiders. And it takes place in the late 70s, early 80s. And it's about this group, this young detectives club coming back together to solve the mystery that has sort of haunted them. It's basically like, what if Scooby-Doo actually had some really dark stuff happening at the core of it? Like these people who are, wearing masks aren't actually wearing masks. They're actual villains. It's really fantastic. It's really fun and wild. He has a very active imagination. So I highly recommend that one if you're looking for something fun and exciting. And then the last book that I picked is Solutions and Other Problems by Ali Brosh. This is the follow-up to Hyperbole and a Half, which came out about 10 years ago now, I believe, which was based on her very famous blog of the same name. This book she's basically been described as like, what if David Sedaris could draw? She is like riotously, hilariously funny. I mean, I literally cried. I was laughing so hard at one point in this book. And she also deals with some really dark stuff. She famously did a really long post about her battle with depression. She basically disappeared from the internet for a couple of years and then came back and wrote about her experience with depression in a way that was so relatable, and I think is like the most accurate representation of struggling with depression that I've ever read. And this is like the next chapter in her life, and a lot of change has happened in her life. Not all of it good, but it is so well written and it's easy to read. She's got these hilarious drawings. So I can't recommend it highly enough if you kind of need something to give you hope right now. That is definitely a book I would recommend for that. And those are my 3. So thank you.
Hold on a second, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, another person is not here yet. Real quick, just what's it been like for you selling books in the pandemic?
Oh, honestly, it's such a welcome relief. I really missed talking to customers. I find this work incredibly fulfilling, and there is almost nothing as great a joy as giving someone a story that has meant so much to you and knowing that it's going to have a big impact on their life. Getting to talk to people again and, share the stories that are really important to us is amazing. I had this 12-year-old girl come in as a customer 2 weeks ago,
and everything I suggested to her she had read already. It was honestly a little intimidating, but she was like this great kid, and I ended up finding some stuff she was like reading at an adult level. I talked to her mother. I was like, let's talk to your mom before I recommend anything else, because I don't want to give you something that's like inappropriate or something that she wouldn't like you to be reading. And her mom was so lovely. We had a great conversation, and I think she left with some books that are really going to make her smile and think. And she's clearly so intelligent. That is like one of the highlights since coming back. But honestly, it's all been really great. We've been super busy, and it's good to see like our regulars again, even if I don't like recognize them at first because I can't see the bottom half of their face. But no, selling books in a pandemic it's brought me a lot of joy. You know, it was something that I was really missing from my life, and I'm so delighted to be able to be doing it again.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thanks,
Sarah.
Dan.
All right, once again, right there. That's where you get the books, right there. Okay, and now, the nicest guy in book selling, Connor.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, guys. Well, I'm just here to follow up what Sarah was just saying. It has been a delight to be back at Book Soup. I have totally regained my sense of purpose. The months away were really challenging and lonely, and being able to have coworkers again, a sense of purpose has been restored, which I appreciate. I have some books that I wanted to talk about, which have helped me get through the pandemic as well. Let's start with E.B. White on Democracy. Most of us know E.B. White as born in 19th century and wrote Stuart Little, Charlotte's Web, but a lot of people don't know that he also wrote a lot of journalism and was a contributor for The New Yorker in the 20s and the Depression era. I found this to be extremely relevant and easy to read, even though it's a collection of essays that are almost 100 years old. I found this to be really relevant in 2020. I mean, he's writing on the Depression and a lot of other issues that somehow are completely salient in 2020. So if you haven't heard of it or thought about it, E.B. White on Democracy, the same guy who wrote Stuart Little and Charlotte's Web, has a really interesting mind and has a lot to say just about the state of politics. Am I doing all right?
Yep.
Sweet.
Take your time.
This is The Birth of Loud. Ian Port is a contributor to a number of magazines, including Rolling Stone. I think most importantly is he is a lifelong guitarist. He wrote this book called The Birth of Loud on Leo Fender and Les Paul. It is pretty much the story of the two competing greatest engineers of the electric guitar ever, Leo Fender and Les Paul, and how they competed in the post-World War II era to be the greatest guitar maker. It's a really interesting story. I'm a musician myself. I'm mostly a pianist, but I also play the guitar and would love at some point to have one of these real, either a Fender Stratocaster or a Les Paul that you're seeing right here, Gibson Les Paul. I think it's a great story. You probably recognize these guitars anywhere from being in the hands of Jimmy Page to B.B. King, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, Paul McCartney. I might be repeating myself, but these two guitars actually have a lot to say about all the music we listen to today. So anyways, think about Birth of Loud. And most recently, I just finished Alex Trebek's memoir, The Answer Is, Reflections on My Life. This one hit particularly home to me as I was a big Jeopardy fan. But I think for someone we know so much in the spotlight, I think it was really interesting to read about what he was like outside the spotlight. I read this over the course of just a few days, and he actually passed while I was reading the book, which I thought was pretty wild. But it's a wonderful, wonderfully written story. He's a man of my heart, but you find out a lot that I think you wouldn't, even as a lifelong Jeopardy fan. And I think what made this really hit home too was the state of affairs we're in at the moment. It's no secret that we're still in the middle of the pandemic, and Trebek talks about some pretty serious issues, fighting his cancer and waiting out the last of his days during a pandemic. And I think he was really hopeful, and he has a really optimistic view that I think we could all benefit from right now. So anyways, Trebek, Alex Trebek's memoir, please come through to Book Soup and read it. I'm Connor. I've been having a lot of fun talking with you and appreciate the help from Dan. So that's me.
All right, thanks, Connor.
Thank you.
And now we have a bookseller who needs no introduction.
Oh my God.
Hi, Kitty,
Hello.
it's Tamika.
It's me. Hi. How is everyone doing? You can answer if you want in the comments. I'll be here all day. No, seriously. Were there questions? Am I supposed to be answering questions? I don't know. Sam. Hi, Sam.
I'll read those. You talk about the books that you liked.
Okay. So I picked a few things, just gauging on how I've been feeling throughout the year. The year started off way different than I thought it would end up, which I'm sure is a lot of everyone's story right now. So I started off being really optimistic about all the things that I would read. And then Corona hit and was like, sis, you need to sit down and be sad somewhere. And who cares about reading, really, honestly. But before now, I have a few titles. I wanted to start with Wow, No Thank You. This came out in the beginning of the year. What's the beginning of this year? I think it was the beginning of this year. What is a year? What are days? This came out in the beginning of this year, and I love Samantha Irby. If you don't follow her on Instagram, fix it, like immediately. Stop what you're doing. Actually, don't stop what you're after you're finished watching this. Go on Instagram and follow Bitches Gotta Eat because she's hilarious. She's extremely inappropriate and vulgar, but also like, so who isn't, right? Grown folk stuff. So I would say read her if you want to laugh at something inappropriate, if you want to talk about, poop and just, being fabulous, but also having a body that's carbon matter and falling apart as the days progress. I mean, relatable content, I would say. So I would highly suggest Wow, No Thank You by Samantha Irby. She has a few other titles as well. They're all in the same tone. Again, you can come into the store and from 6 feet away, thank me for recommending this book to you. I really got into romance in the last couple of years, specifically contemporary romance, and one of my favorite romance authors right now had her second installment of a series come out. Carbon Equals Sexy, that's true. Had her second installment come out this year, and it's called Take a Hint, Danny Brown. Now, I don't know if you can see from this image, but this is a plus size girl. This is a plus size girl. So I was very excited to see myself on the page in a lot of different ways. Also dealing with, life doesn't mean, even though we're out here in Corona, some of us are still getting our swerve on, hopefully safely. And in this book, you can get away to meet these sisters who are going through life and also learning about themselves and about love. And romance is more than just, a steamy collar. It's a lot of things that you learn about character and just how we grow together and how we use our relationships to help get us through things. So I really enjoyed Talia Hibbert. I highly suggest you all pick up a copy. If you've never read romance, she's definitely the author to start with. And you're welcome. That's all I have to say about that. I did pick one title, Zadie Smith's Intimations, of a work that was born of the pandemic. Like, Zadie Smith wrote this while we're all in quarantine. She was actually in New York writing a large portion of this, and just reading something from an author that I respect that is also going through this crazy year, and seeing it also from a vantage point that is someone that's not American. So her take on a lot of things are like outsider takes that I really wouldn't have seen myself. So it's a very interesting vantage that she comes from, and how she she so expertly describes the people, especially of New York, and just what we're all going through right now. It's a quick read, super, super short, but also so powerful, just extremely packed with power. So that was helping me get through. And my last one I'm actually going to talk about is one that is not in a new title. It's not new from this year, but there were two beautiful editions that came out this year of Audre Lorde's Sister Outsider. If you've never read this, and for example, you might be a Black girl who wants to read read White People for Filth, read this, because Audre Lorde does this in one of the stories, and it gave me so much joy. I didn't think something could give me that much joy until I read it. But Audre Lorde she's a lighthouse. She's a beacon, right? So everything that I read by her, I feel like I'm being called to a new level of understanding. And she is talking about things that will be guaranteed to help us interact with each other in a more meaningful way, with discussions of race, with discussions of sexuality, with discussions of what it like, taking back words that have negative connotations to them. She is an amazing author. I wish she could live forever, but her words are here for us. So I highly suggest you take advantage of getting some of these books. And sorry for rambling. When I'm nervous, I talk a lot, but these are all the titles that I think you should read. And yeah,
Wait. Don't go yet.
What's up?
What's it been like to be a bookseller during the pandemic, and this year especially?
It's been very interesting being a bookseller during a pandemic, especially not only just a pandemic, but like a social, racial, political kind of awakening that we're all experiencing. Some of us are awakened to things that people like myself have been living with, my ancestors have been living with. So it's been really interesting to see how people are running to books in order to get, I don't know what they're trying to get. Hopefully they're trying to do things to help them, change their mindset and open their eyes to different ways of life, different perspectives, and different struggles that people are going through. I can say we still have a lot of copies of White Fragility if y'all want to come get them. I don't know if you're not fragile anymore, but they're still here if you want to come pick them up. And we're not the conglomerate that shall not be named. So please, be kind to us human folk that are being run by a moral bookstore. We're trying to keep books in our hands, but we're not trying to break our backs doing it. So please, during this holiday season, think about us when you come to shop, but also think about the fact that we are also human. And yeah, that's what it's been like being a bookseller. All right. Thank you. Bye, y'all.
That's Tamika making every day that much better. So, and I have real quick. Kieran is busy, but he did give me some picks. Real Life by Brendan Taylor is one of his favorites from the year. Talking Animals by Joni Murphy, and Enter the Aardvark by Jessica Anthony. And I read these without my glasses. So those are Kieran's picks. I don't think they're on the list yet, but we'll add them in there as we go. And now I'm going to look for Sam and Maggie and see if I can bring them up. They're from the promo team, so we're going to reunite the promo team here real quick.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, Sam.
Maggie is Bill Ayers right now.
I know. I think I found her. How's it going?
Great. How's it going? Oh, I wish I was there.
It's fun.
I know it looks fun. I wish. Now that I'm seeing everyone, I'm like, oh, I want to be there.
What's it been like for you this year? Tell us about the books that are getting you through.
Well, I felt similarly to Tamika and was not reading for a while, and I was ignoring everything by playing Animal Crossing and building my island and having fun like that. But I'm now in a class and I'm getting more focused again, so I've been reading a lot more, which feels really good. And I actually have more energy to read, which is nice. I have more books than you asked for, but I just finished Play It As It Lays, which is not 2020, and it's very old. It came out in the 70s, but I had never read Joan Didion novel before, and it is, I wouldn't say it's light 2020 reading if you want to escape, but if you want to go real deep into the dark feels, then it's a really good book of its time. I think it's really just, anyone that knows Joan Didion knows she writes really well about Los Angeles, and this book she writes specifically about Hollywood and how messed up some of parts of it are, and just what it's like to be a woman in the 70s or 60s, which doesn't feel much different than now, but it is better. So it can at least make you feel better in that way. And Luster would be now I'm on my new picks. They're all 2020. Luster by Raven Leilani, which we did an event with her and Gloria Edom, which is one of my recommended events to go rewatch because it's really amazing. This book is a lot more intense than I expected it to be. But it's intense and it's dark at times because it's a very serious topic, but it's also very funny, which I didn't expect also to be as, it's darkly funny, but it's funny. And Edie, the main character, is quite a protagonist to be on a journey with. She's a very interesting person, very complex. So it's really beautifully written, and I highly recommend. And my next one, which came out in January, actually before the pandemic, so I remember seeing this book all over the store when it came out, is Hitting a Straight Lick with a Crooked Stick by Zora Neale Hurston, which if anyone's read Zora, she does not need any praise by me because she is just, everyone already knows she's amazing. Their Eyes Are Watching God is such a beautiful novel that made me, I wept at the end of it. It's so beautiful. And these stories, what I love, I think that when you're doing your white guilt shopping of reading books by authors that aren't white, which I hope you were doing before this year, what's great about Zora is that she writes stories that it's not, there's always going to be race involved, but it's real human stories that I hope, and I'm speaking to the white people right now, that you can see them as human beings that deserve their stories to be told and read. And these are all older from the Harlem Renaissance, which is one of my favorite parts of history. And it's just beautiful. So I highly recommend. And while I'm on that as well, you can buy White Fragility, but I also recommend reading books about race from Black women, especially. And I have a Black women's history of the United States, which is really by Dana Ramey Berry and Kali Nicole Gross, which is really cool because it goes through decades. Or different periods of time since before the 1600s. And it's a real in-depth look at history that, a lot of this is filling in blanks that we didn't have in our schools growing up. So that is really, really important. And I actually got this book at Reparations Club, which is a Black-owned bookstore in Los Angeles that I highly recommend. They're amazing, and they have a really good selection of not only books about race, but just fiction stories. And not every author in their selection is Black, but they have a really good selection, and I recommend their shop as well. And my last one I haven't gotten to read yet, but it's on the top of my list, is Mexican Gothic, which I did get at Book Soup. And I'm just really excited to read this book because I love this kind of genre, and I've heard amazing things. I think that this book and Luster are the two that I've seen everywhere the most, besides Alyssa Cole's book, Is It When No One Is Watching? Those three books I feel like I've seen the most all over Instagram this year, so I'm really excited to read this one as well. And those are all my picks, but I wanted to share some events that I recommend from this year. And so some really fun ones that I had were, I just did Magnus Hastings and Alaska. from RuPaul's Drag Race, and that was a really fun conversation that I got to be a part of slightly because I was doing the slides. And then I had some other really fun events recently. It's nice when you're included as the host, and Louis Canizaro and Gregory Siff had me basically in conversation with them, reading questions and asking them questions, and that was really fun. And recently, Felicia, Luna Lemus, and Linnell George. That was a really great event too. But I'm going to share some links to, if you're a writer or just really, really love literature, I'm going to share some kind of a lot. Actually, I'll just put them down at once instead of posting them separately, but I'll share them in the comments here. So it's going to look like a lot. But Pamela Sneed is an amazing poet from New York, and her event was so important and heartfelt that I felt like it deserved such a bigger audience and everyone should watch it. So please go watch that one. And I should have the book lists too. Her book is called Funeral Diva, was that one. And then Samir Pandya with Jade Chang discussing members only. They had a really good conversation, and it was very novel driven, which as a aspiring novelist, those are my favorites. And then we had Brian Castleberry with Asaka Serizawa discussing Brian's book, which I'm forgetting the name of. Oh, 9 Shiny Objects. I haven't gotten to read these. These are also on my to be read because I haven't been able to read them yet and get them, but it sounded like a really interesting book because it included a UFO sighting with neighborhood drama, so that sounded interesting. And then Peace Adzo Medie with Mathangi Subramanian discussing Peace's book, His Only Wife. That's another one that's gotten a lot of buzz, and I'm really excited to read it. She's been winning awards for it, so that was another great novel-driven conversation. So was Brian's. And then Raven and Gloria Edom, if you're part of Well Read Black Girl or like Well Read Black Girl, we've had 2 events with Glory, with Alyssa Cole and Raven. I actually recommend both of those too. Those were really fun. And then Pariah Hasori and Tembi Locke. Pariah wrote a book about her transgender daughter, and she is so raw and honest about such an important topic and being a parent of a child like that. And, you know, people are still very much learning about all LGBT people. And I think, you know, it's very, very important to just read these stories, learn these people the best way. If you're like not part of it at all, the best way to immerse yourself in and open your mind and learn about all kinds of different people is by watching movies about them and reading their books and having an open mind. So those are all of my picks. And just to talk about what it's been like, it's been really interesting, but the perk to me of being virtual is I feel much more hands-on with all of the artists and the writers and the authors, and that's been my favorite part, because sometimes in the store I don't even meet them or get to talk to them until they're there. So that's been the best part, is being able to talk to them ahead of time and meet ahead of time, so that once we're on screen together, I've talked to them a couple times, and I'm proud that Book Soup has had such a diverse and inclusive group of authors this year. I'm sure that we did last year too, but I didn't think about it as, it's easier to remember everyone for some reason having it all in front of me virtually than when I was doing in person. So It's been really great.
Yeah.
What nice to like maintain community this way and not just be at home like through a screen. I mean, I'm through a screen, but to be through a screen and to talk to people instead of just like typing away has been really nice. So it's kept me, I've been home like almost the whole time, and I feel like I've still had some kind of social life. So it's nice.
That's good. That's good. The Panelist Need, is that event on our YouTube page yet? We started a YouTube page this year.
Oh, yes. I don't think that one's up yet, which I can actually put it up today.
Yeah,
but all of these, I put the Crowdcast links because you also can see them all there. But YouTube is easier. You don't have to register. But also you can follow us here on Crowdcast, and you can get emailed every time an event is about to go live, so that you don't always have to go find them, but they will find you.
Yes. So the great thing is they live in the archive after the event is over. and so you can watch it from there. But you can also watch them from BookSoup Official, our YouTube channel. And it's also kind of cool when they're live because you got people watching from all over the world. Some of these events.
Yes, we had Amru Al-Qadi with Mona El-Tahawi, and that was another great event. It was for Amru's memoir, and that one was really cool. And he was in, oh my gosh, I can't remember where he was. I don't know. He's in the UK, I think, mostly, but he was somewhere over there. But people were watching at like 3 a.m, and the commitment was real. They were very excited. But yeah, it was so cool to have that reach. And
all right, well, thanks for sharing your picks. Maggie is not, Bill Ayers is not connecting. We're still haunted. Well, it wouldn't be a live stream if there wasn't some kind of a connectivity issue or some kind of IT issue. So, Sam, thanks for doing this with us. Thanks for doing the bulk of these live streams. I know you handle most of it, so thank you for that.
Happy to do it.
And then, Maggie's. I'm gonna resend to Maggie right now. So hold on, but maybe we can still get Maggie up here. All right, we're trying again, Maggie.
Oh, and for everyone who saw Connor, if you thought he was joyous here, you don't even know the half of it, so you should come in the store and say hi, because he's the bubbliest person on earth. And it's amazing. So if you ever need to pick me up, come say hi to Connor.
Yeah. It's been nice to be back in the store after all that time, but it's the people really make it, the staff, and it's great to see people that I recognize, people I don't recognize, and then tell them about books that I love. It's been a lot of fun. So.
And sometimes you can see famous people.
You still can.
I saw Jeff Garland when I went in there last, and he remembered me. Oh yeah, we did an event with him too, and that was fun.
Okay, I don't think Maggie is connecting for some reason.
Yes, she said it keeps asking to check her camera and mic.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, this has been a great live stream. I want to thank everyone for joining us. And just once again, the green button at the center, dead center, bottom of your screen is where you can see the link to our 2020 Best of the Year list. There's a few titles that we need to add to it, so we'll keep adding to it as we go. And thank you all for joining us. When this live stream ends, it's going to take about a minute, and then it's going to save, and it'll be added to the archive. So if you missed the beginning, you can watch it again at your leisure. Sam, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
They all went back to selling books.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, and hopefully, if we don't get shut down, we'll see everybody this holiday season. Please try to swing by and see us if you can. All right. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, everyone.